Catch him!
Power Stone, a 3D arena fighter made by Capcom for the Dreamcast, which boasts a vibrant art style, varied characters, and addictive arcade-style gameplay. I played it like 5 times ever on my cousin's Dreamcast 20 years ago, and yet it still stuck with me. I still remember this game, so yeah, good game, good times. With that in mind, I never did go out of my way to watch its 26-episode anime adaptation. So today, I'm going to be remedying that. No bells or whistles. Classic VidAMs. Let's dive right into it. So first things first, we meet our protagonist, the young British boxer and explorer, Edward Falcon, whose original Japanese name was Edward Fokker.
We fuckerized him.
What throws me about Edward here, though, is despite his fellow Londoners speaking with a British accent, he speaks in standard anime protagonist American. But instead of changing his Union Jacks to the Stars and Stripes, they instead swapped him out for the Scottish flag for some reason. Where the fuck is this guy from?
Morning, Mr. Falcon. Hang on a sec.
Huh?
A package came for you, in your room.
A package for me?
Receiving a stone from his absentee father, of which he has absolutely zero interest, Falcon fobs it off to his butler, Apollos. But when Apollos is attacked by a pair of thugs who seem all too interested in said stone, Falcon realizes that there's probably something to it.
Oh, that's smart, really smart.
You haven't seen the last of us! Run, boys!
That was weird.
After deducing that this is in fact one of the fabled Power Stones, Falcon thinks back on his absentee father, remembering why he left in the first place.
I'm off to search for miracles and wonders and bring them back to you. Farewell, my son. Remember, always be brave.
It's at this point that we meet our second playable character, Rouge, a fortune teller who premonitions the following 26 episodes worth of adventure. All while Falcon tries to flirt with her, as any late-teen English, Scottish, American lad would.
Well, enough about that stone. Tell me, do you see any love in that crystal ball?
Oh.
Continuing with the breakneck pace, Falcon soon finds himself in another altercation with the self-described pirates, Octo and Puss, who now boast a gang of identical henchmen. Falcon gives them the slip with a pre-prepared lookalike stone, and between the 7 mystical stones, a character named Rouge, and a gambit involving a fake stone, we're now 3 for 3 on SA2 parallels. Would you even believe me if I told you that this anime predates it by 2 years?
There he goes! Go around to the other side!
Howard, come down here!
Pests, don't they ever give up?
The chase leads to Falcon accidentally crashing a travelling show, hosted by the acrobatic Ayame, and her gender non-conforming brother, whose mostly non-derisive inclusion in this show led to it being chopped up or unaired in certain regions. 1999 kids show, by the way.
Based.
Speaking of based, we then get this absolute corker of an exchange from random identical henchman number 3, giving me my first full-on laugh.
Octo and Puss are lucky. Man, at least they got to see the show.
We're just a proletariat constantly oppressed by management.
The chase continues, only being interrupted by the samurai Ryoma, who provides some insight into the transformative powers of the stones before challenging Falcon for his. The army of goons don't much care for this.
Stand and fight, coward!
Single file, remember your training!
Eventually, Falcon finds himself pincered between his 2 pursuers, with Octo, Puss, and the goons stating their allegiance to Kraken. Between this name drop and early allusions to the world-class fighter Valgus, that is 5 of the 10 playable characters we've introduced in Episode 1 alone. Not doing much to disprove my thesis that narratives based on fighting games get way too chaotic way too quickly. And so we end by introducing the original game's core gimmick, the ability to harness the Power Stones and take on temporary superpowered forms. With the pirate scarpering and Ryoma no longer feeling the vibe, the episode ends with Falcon being invited to a duel the next day. He bemoans his situation while Ayame and her brother watch on, clad in ninja garb. So that was Power Stone, and honestly, I'm surprised I'd never seen this as a kid. I would have eaten this shit up. Fox Kids, you just missed out on free money with this show. I'd have invested a lot of my mum's hard-earned paychecks into this if you'd let me.
All I want is to be like Valgus and become famous, and have at least one major fight in my life.
Apollo strong-arms Falcon into a globe-trotting quest to find his father, kicking off the main story. As they seek guidance from Rouge, Ayame tries and fails to swipe Falcon's stone, remaining undetected even after being booted in the goddamn stomach. Because ninjas can just do that.
Have you forgotten that we are ninja spies disguised as entertainers? Look at yourselves. They're all hopeless.
Grandpa's having another seizure.
I'm fine. Stop treating me like an old man.
So Rouge encourages Falcon and Apollos to pass through multiple countries, correlating to the stages in the original game. And as if to validate her claims, Falcon's Power Stone then shows a vision of his old man standing alongside Valgus.
I am positive that fortune teller wouldn't try to trick anyone. That was a sign from your father. We must be on the right track already.
Later that day, Ayame and her brother, Kikunojo, double their efforts to take Falcon's stone away, the latter dolling herself up as a blonde girl and almost succeeding in seducing it off of him. In this moment, I did anticipate the harmful media trope where trans or GNC people are portrayed as two-faced deceivers, softened only by the framing of ninjutsu. But after the plan falls through and the conflict settles down, both ninjas end up developing feelings for Falcon, and Kikunojo opens up about her identity, so hell yeah, bullet dodged.
Double bass.
By the by, if this wasn't a standard review, I probably would have focused it on Kikunojo and used her to discuss the history of Eastern and Western theatre and how they implemented cross-dressing in order to get around women not being allowed on stage and, you know, theatre degree. I've got a theatre degree, okay?
You put up a good fight, but you've really hurt yourself there. There.
So with that, the ninja family backs off, leaving our heroes to a quiet, uneventful evening. Oh shit, we forgot about Ryoma!
Falcon, you have dishonored me!
And to put a nice bow on things before making travel arrangements, the ninjas invite Falcon to a free show.
Is it really free?
For you it is, but for everyone else, no.
By the way, do you know how Ayame hurt her leg?
Bike messenger. Knock me down.
That is the second time I've used that reference now, and this time was even more fitting. So, jumping forward to episode 13, the series midpoint, Falcon and Apollos land in Japan, where all of these ninja/samurai shenanigans can really come to a head. And before you accuse me or the show of being wildly stereotypical, this is set in the 19th century. Ninjas, samurais, and swashbuckling pirates were all operating back then. Maybe. Probably. I don't know history, outside of theatre. I'm reviewing a children's anime, leave me alone.
At the sushi restaurant, 3 days ago, you picked my pocket, remember? So I never got to eat my dinner there. And I haven't eaten a thing in the last 3 days, and it's all because of you.
After recovering from an injury sustained in an earlier episode, as well as 3 days of malnutrition apparently, Ryoma, who now maintains a friendly rivalry with Falcon, encounters him after being summoned by his sensei. The two of them stop for a meal.
I left immediately. Rouge said she'd come here when Ganner recovers, which could be a while yet.
Why would Rouge want to come all the way to Moonland?
I don't know. I haven't the slightest idea.
What do you mean you don't know? I think she's just falling for you.
As they get up to leave, Falcon accidentally knocks a guy off of his bench. That guy being one of a trio of violent and prideful samurai brothers, who engage in a violent battle with the two. The skirmish arouses the attention of the local constabulary, forcing both sides to scarper.
If I do anything too strenuous, I'll blow my disguise, and then where will I be, Ayame?
How's this for strenuous?
Hey, cut that out!
If you...
Now keeping to the back roads, Falcon, Ryoma, and the ninja family head towards their joint destination together. When arriving at the sensei's dojo, they learn that he is away to attend to a duel, issued by none other than the brothers who they just escaped from.
The master can handle them, but I can't get over the feeling that those three weasels didn't come here just to challenge the master. It's something else.
Ryoma's insistence on only using his Power Stone when absolutely necessary leads to him running to the fight on foot with Falcon in tow. This leads to Rouge, Apollos, and the entire police force tailing them. But as Ryoma thought, his sensei is more than enough of a badass to hold his own.
I will not draw my sword.
Are you mad?
I don't think I have to.
Defend yourself!
In my dojo, I teach my students that the ultimate samurai should exercise restraint and not draw his sword against those who do not know our principles.
That makes no sense!
Yes, it does, because for my students, I must practice what I preach.
This guy is so aggressively nonplussed, it actually kind of gives me chills. Those three are as good as dead. But before he can solo them, the lads turn up to bust out their transformations. Falcon blowing up a squad of the brothers' identical hired goons, as he is wont to do, apparently, and Ryoma begrudgingly donning his sick Japanese Kabuto armor and trashing the younger brothers. This leaves Ryoma's sensei with an honorable one-on-one. Sick. This show's family-friendly rating is the only reason that guy got off light there. The episode ends with the sensei admonishing Ryoma for losing control of his stone, demanding that he continues training. Just in time for all of them to get run out of town.
How can you be so cool?
Will you two take it easy and wait up?
Oh no, they're not running again!
And so we have the show's final 2 episodes, which cover the game's final boss fight. Braving a deadly storm to reach Darkland, which I'm pretty sure has no real-life parallel, the gang hope to confront Valgus, Falcon's childhood hero who is now trying to steal the stones for nefarious purposes. I was never good enough at the game to reach this guy, so this marks my first impression of him.
My dream will soon come true. Our destiny awaits!
Yep, that sure is the final boss of a fighting game. The gang find themselves ambushed by reoccurring villain and playable character, Jack, who is characterized in this show as being like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, crying for his mama and seeking out his lovely, i.e. Falcon's Power Stone.
And I wonder if for some reason the Power Stone brought you to us.
Lovely!
Tell me, did it?
Some people would choose diplomacy. Some would choose violence. Falcon asks, why can't be both? However, after Jack actually succeeds in getting away with the stone, Falcon decides that he doesn't need the bloody thing. He can beat Valgus without it.
Get them and their power stones and bring them here. Go now!
Yes, sir! Valgus sends out his henchmen, and you know he means business because these ones aren't identical. More pressingly though, they also transform into goddamn monsters, forcing a bunch of the party to use up their temporary transformations.
For years now, I have trained my mind and body to become the ultimate fighting force. What you see before you is sheer power, power incarnate. Let me train you. Let me train you like I have been training the others.
Eat my shorts.
And if that wasn't enough, we finally see Falcon's father up close and personal. Only for him to be held hostage.
Be my right-hand man.
Over my dead body!
To create my vision of a new world, I need all the power I can get. And that means you and all the Power Stones. Bow down to me!
Falcon thinks back over his past, of how he saw Valgus as the father figure he never truly had, basking in the cruel irony of his father being absent because he was actively trying to stop Valgus. Falcon gets up, rekindles his will to fight, gets bodied again, and the episode ends with Valgus inviting him to the Shrine of Darkness, the final boss arena.
I've gathered the Power Stones together to make my dream come true, my dream of a completely different world. A harsh, extreme world. A world with exotic and dangerous jungles and barren, empty deserts.
In an interesting parallel to Falcon himself, Valgus's goal is to embolden the spirit of adventure and heroism by turning the whole world into Australia, taking the globe-trotting exploration that this show revels in to its logical extreme. And Falcon recognizes this for the unhinged behavior it is, rejecting Valgus's invitation to join him for like the 4th time at this point. Man does not take no for an answer. With no Power Stone to call his own anymore, Falcon gets absolutely goddamn wrecked, more so than before. But without all 7 stones to hand, Valgus's plans are also kind of balked. Valgus thinks back to his troubled childhood, and ay caramba, he is not beating the Bart Simpson allegations.
All I need to be is strong, and then I can defeat anyone, and I wouldn't need anybody else at all. If only I had one wish.
Backed into a corner, Valgus decides to, well, have any of you seen the movie Akira? In his final form, Valgus easily defeats and siphons the power of everyone present, even anticipating a sneak attack from Jack, who decides that he finally wants to give friendship a try. And so, we move on to the final fight, a battle between the legendary Lightstone and the Darkstone. That's just a humanoid Arceus. And that is absolutely not a complaint. That is cool as fuck. While completely obliterating him would have been satisfying enough, the show does add one bittersweet flourish, with Valgus reverting back to his young, scared, and vulnerable state. Falcon offering him a comforting hug before he dies. Damn, now I feel bad. Anyways, this show wraps up with everyone parting ways, taking on their own personal adventures. And much like the original game, the final shot is one of Falcon taking to the skies in his plane, this time with his butler and bestie Apollos in tow.
In your heart, hold the key.
And that was Power Stone, a classic 90s anime that could have popped off way harder in the West if it wasn't almost exclusively aired on YTV. Canada, you were onto something with this one. Wrapping up today, I want to thank my patrons for supporting me, particularly Anonymous, Ataru, Dan Brown, Fitzwilliam Ramsbottom, Kneecap Rock, Locomossi, Shamey, Thomas Walker, and Toon Pirates. Next episode will be episode 69. Look forward to it.